Yes, ma'am.
Okay, great. Okay, I think students are still joining in. Okay. So now we are going to move ahead and we are going to understand other important few definitions which are very important, and then we are going to start with provisions. Okay. So now, so far, I mean, we can definitely wait for others so they don't miss on the provision part. So let's just wait for maybe 2-3 more minutes for others to join. Till then, definitely we can just quickly discuss whatever we have studied. Okay. So we were studying about important definition. Would you all like? Okay. Would you all like to discuss few definitions which you have already studied? Can you interpret those definitions? So far, whatever we have studied, can you interpret them? For example, if I'm asking you who is an employer, can anyone tell me first tell me who is an employee? When you're talking about an employee under this act, who is an employee?
Ma'am, a person who is drawing monthly wages less than 21,000 and engage in skilled, unskilled or supervisory or clerical work.
Very nicely answered. Anyone who is drawing salary not more than 21,000 definitely is going to be considered as an employee. Very, very good. And definitely that particular person can be skilled, unskilled, but definitely he is definitely going to be considered as an employee. Very good. What else? Which other definition do you all know? Which other definition? Who's an employer? Who is an employer?
Employer is a owner or occupier or legal representative or the agent.
Very good. He can be occupier, he can be owner, he can be the legal representatives of the deceased occupier or owner, he can be the agent of the owner, he can be the agent of the occupier. Very well, very nicely answered. I'm so happy when you all now just speak in the legal terminologies. This is an employer, this is an employee, which is very impressive. That means you all are paying so much of attention. Really makes me very happy the way you all are answering in the class. Very good. Very well. Very nicely answered. Okay, so, and can anyone tell me what is a wage? What is a remuneration?
Ma'am, anything which is capable of being expressed in terms of money.
Very good. That can be considered as wage. Is wage and salary one and the same, or are they different?
Same, ma'am.
Same, and they are different.
Same. Can I say wage and salary is nothing but remuneration?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, yeah.
Yes. And can I say wage and salary is nothing but remuneration, which is in terms of money?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes. Can I include? Can I say dearness allowance is a part of my wage and
Yes, ma'am.
salary?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
How about travel allowance? Is travel allowance my wage?
No, it is not included in the salary.
It is.
Not included in the salary.
Very good. That is definitely not going to be considered. For example, sometimes the employers say, I am giving you light allowance, I am giving you water allowance, I am giving you HRA, I am giving all these services. These are nothing but your wage. Can that be considered as wage?
No, ma'am.
Are you
No,
sure?
Ma'am, any allowance
Yes.
other than DA and basic wage is not considered as salary.
Basic salary and dearness allowance is salary.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Travel allowance cannot be included, cannot be considered as wage.
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Really?
Yes, ma'am. Yes, ma'am.
Very good. I must say, very scholarly students I have. Okay. How about pension?
Not included in salary.
Can that be considered as salary?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes,
ma'am.
ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, very good. How about bonus? Sometimes incentives which the employers give you. That too definitely can be considered, right? That definitely can be considered as salary, right? That
No,
can be
not even
considered, right?
No, ma'am.
Are you
Not
sure?
Yes, ma'am.
ma'am.
Okay. Looks like you all are very smart students. So if tomorrow anyone comes to you and fools you around, I'm so sure now your basics are so strong that no one can fool you. Very good. Very happy that you all know and you all are aware about whatever we are studying so far. Now we are going to move ahead and we are going to understand different other different important definitions. Okay. So let me see if there is anyone. Is there any other student who's not able to join in by any chance? Are you all there in class now?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now we are going to move ahead, okay, and we are going to understand other important definitions. Can you all see my screen?
No, ma'am.
Just a minute.
No.
Okay. Okay. I think now are you all able to view it? The PowerPoint presentation?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we know the definition of an employer. We know the definition of an accounting year. We know what available surplus is. What is allocable surplus? So we know that allocable surplus is that part of the surplus which is available. For example, from the available surplus, from the gross profit, whatever deductions are made, okay, out of that, whatever is available, okay, from that, whatever is allocated, that is allocable surplus. So we know that in case of banking, it is 60%, and in case of any other establishment, it is 67%, right? And then we know who an appropriate government is. Then we know who an employee is. We have studied about employer. We have studied about what salary or wage is. So this much is very crystal clear, and it's we know it for sure now. Now we are going to go ahead, and we have also, I believe, in our before ending the class, you've also studied about what an award is, right? You all know what an award is, right?
Yes, ma'am.
What is an award, student? Is it a trophy?
No, ma'am. This is a supreme or final order.
Very good. So who all can give an award?
Ma'am,
What
tribunal
all can be considered? What all can be considered as an award, students?
Ma'am, decision given by courts or tribunals.
Labor court.
Okay, very good. So decisions given by labor court, it can be given by industrial tribunals. So all of them are going to be considered as the final or the interim or final determination which is given by them is definitely going to be considered as an award. We also study that if a final determination is given by an arbitration, will that be also be considered as an award, students? Will that also be considered as an award? Yes, so that is also definitely going to be considered as an award. So we know what an award is. Award is nothing but a final determination which is given by any labor court. It can be also an industrial tribunal. It can be national tribunal as well, or it can be in case of an arbitration, the dispute settlement. It can be the settlement which is given, the dispute which is settled by an arbitrator, that also can be considered as an award. So usually when an employer and employee has a conflict, they definitely go to the court of law, and that particular court which gives a final determination, that particular determination which can be either interim or it can be final, that particular determination is considered as an award. Is this clear to one and all?
Yes,
Is it
ma'am.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
So now we know what award is as also. Next, we are going to understand about company. Okay. Now, company has a straightforward definition. Can anyone guess what is a company? What is a company, students? What is a company?
Ma'am, company registered under Companies Act.
Correct. A company registered under Companies Act is nothing but the company, right? So we actually know what a company is, and if you see in your study material as well, the company has been defined. Okay. So students, now you all know exactly. You all know that company, when a company registered, that's the time when an incorporation of company starts, right? You know what a company is. Company has a separate legal. It's nothing but a separate legal entity. Okay, you all know that it has a common seal, it has a perpetual succession. That is nothing but a company. And for a company to incorporate, for that registration is vital important. Without registration, a company cannot incorporate. I'm so sure you all know about this, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Now, students,
Yes, ma'am.
what we have to do is we also have to know about we have to understand about what is a cooperating society. Like you all know what a company is. Company means any company as defined in Section 3 of the Companies Act. Okay, and it also includes foreign company within the meaning of Section 591 of the Companies Act. So definitely company is a body corporate, okay, and it also includes a foreign company. Okay, now you all know what company is. Can anyone tell me what is a corporation? First tell me what is a cooperative society. Can anyone tell me what is a cooperative society? You must have heard many a times it is a cooperative society. What is a cooperative society? Is cooperative society and company one and the same?
No, ma'am, they are different.
What is it?
Ma'am, cooperative societies are composed of group of individuals who came together to pursue a common goal.
Very good.
Mostly
They are
economic goals.
Very good. So that is a cooperative society, and cooperative society definitely is not a company. Okay. So cooperative society means a society registered or deemed to be registered under the Cooperative Societies Act. Company definitely no, the one which has been incorporated under the Companies Act, that is company. But when we are talking about cooperative society, students, cooperative society means the society which has been registered or which is going to be deemed to be registered under the Cooperative Society Act or any other law for the time being in force in state relating to cooperative societies. So definitely company and cooperative societies are not one and the same, they are different. Okay. Now having understood this, can anyone tell me what is a corporation? What is a corporation?
Which is not company or cooperative societies.
Sometimes you heard that it is a Pune Municipal Corporation, it is like a corporation, right? So what is this? For example, if you are in Pune, you must have heard of PMC, PCMC, Pune Municipal Corporation.
Ma'am, corporations are government bodies which are governed under separate act.
Very good. They are nothing but the government bodies, right? So now corporation, which has the definition of corporation has also been given under Section 2, subclause 11. Okay, it says corporation means any body corporate established by or under any central, provincial, or state act, but does not include a company or cooperative society. This you all must understand. Corporation does not mean company or cooperative society. They are different bodies, right? So corporation means any body corporate established by or under any central, provincial, or state act. Is this clear, students? Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So I think Vikas just joined in. For him, can anyone explain him what an award company, cooperative society and corporation is, so that even he is aware of it, because even he's been sitting in the lecture since morning. So Vikas, I believe you joined a little late. Vikas, can you hear me?
Yes, ma'am. I am not able to join in past.
Okay. So okay. So by the link, were you you were able to join it now, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now for beneficial of Vikas, so that he is also with us in the class and he's in the same lines, can anyone tell him or explain him what is an award? Quickly. What is an award? Can anyone tell him?
Yes, ma'am. Award is an interim or final determination. अगर जैसे कुछ डिस्प्यूट्स हो जाते हैं या कुछ प्रॉब्लम होता है एम्प्लॉयर एम्प्लॉइज के बीच में, तो वो जाते हैं कोर्ट में, जो भी लेबर कोर्ट होगा उसका जो डिसीजन होगा उसको हम वो एक अवार्ड के रूप में बोलेंगे कि वो अवार्ड है.
Very good. Vikas, did you understand what award is?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. Now, can anyone explain him what is a company?
Yes, ma'am.
Company registered under Companies Act.
Okay. And anything else in regard to company that you would like to tell him? क्या होती है कंपनी? Is company and cooperative society one and the same, students?
Them both are different.
No, ma'am.
Okay. Oh, so can company be incorporated without a registration?
No, ma'am. It's a legal entity.
Okay. And how about cooperative society? Cooperative society क्या होती है? Please explain it to Vikas.
Them cooperative societies are registered under Cooperative Societies Act 1860, and it is group of people coming to get together to pursue a common goals, mostly economic goals.
Very good. And
Mainly मैम म्यूचुअल हेल्प एंड वेलनेस पे फोकस करती है कोऑपरेटिव
very good. It completely focuses on that. Very nicely answered. तो corporation क्या है? Does corporation include company and cooperative society?
नो मैम.
Them corporations are government entities which are governed by separate act, like LIC of India.
Very good, very good. तो corporation के अंदर क्या company और cooperative society दोनों आती है?
नो मैम.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
No, ma'am. Companies and cooperative society is not included in corporation.
Then these three are different entities.
Very good. All the three of them are different bodies. They are not one and the same. Company is different, cooperative society is different, and corporation is also different. So now, Vikas, you are whatever you've missed, I think we all have helped you to understand it now. The class has helped you, right? Now we are going to go ahead, okay, and we are going to understand the meaning of the establishment. Okay, like for example, like we had said that this particular act is applicable to establishment where there are more than 20 employees, right? So now when we are talking about establishment, what is an establishment? This particular question will definitely come into your mind कि establishments होती क्या है? Can anyone tell me what are these establishments? What are these establishments? Establishment can be bifurcated in how many parts? Or in how many
Public
sectors?
entities and private entities.
Very good. It can be private, it can be public as well. So can anyone tell me what is a private sector establishment?
Ma'am,
What do
which
you
is
mean
owned
by
by
establishment in private sector?
ma'am, an
Governed by
establishment
private
owned by a private players or a group of private players.
Okay. Can you pardon me again, please? Very good. Owned or managed by private individuals. Okay. So what is the public sector? So if you see the definition of establishment in private sector is very much interesting, which has been provided under section 2 subclause 15. What does it say? If you all see, it has been given under section, it's given in page number 69 of your study material as well. It says that it means any establishment other than establishment in public sector. So what is it saying? That it can mean any establishment, but that establishment should not be a public sector. If it is not a public sector, then definitely it is going to be establishment which is covered under private sector, right? So now to understand this definition, it is very much important for us to understand what do you mean by establishment in public sector, right? If you know what are the establishment in public sector, अगर वो आपको पता है, then definitely you can say which are the establishment in private sector, right? Because if you see the definition which has been provided under section 2 subclause 15, in regard to establishment in private sector, what does it say? It says it means any establishment, कोई भी establishment other than establishment in public sector, that particular establishment will be considered as a private sector. So any establishment जो public sector जो establishment public sector में नहीं है, those establishment is going to be considered as private. So it is very much important for us to first and foremost understand कि ये establishment in public sector है क्या, right? अगर वो हमें पता चल जाता है, then obviously we will know the remaining establishments are definitely private sector establishments, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Right? Are you all with me?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes,
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay. So now let us see the definition of establishment in public sector, which is given under section 2 subclause 16. Okay. Now there's the definition which has been given under section 2 subclause 16. It says that it means an establishment owned, controlled or managed by a government company as defined in section 617 of the Companies Act. Now I want you all to understand the meaning of these three important terms. Establishment in public sector means an establishment which has been owned, controlled or managed. What do you mean by owned? What do you mean by owned?
मीन्स मतलब खुद का उनका
मैम ओनरशिप राइट
करेक्ट ओन मतलब उन्होंने खरीदा है राइट ओन व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय कंट्रोल्ड व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय कंट्रोल
मैम हैविंग फाइनल से इन डिसीजन
करेक्ट कंट्रोल मतलब वो ओनर तो नहीं है बट वो पूरा कंट्रोल है अल्टीमेट कंट्रोल लाइज ऑन दैट पर्टिकुलर पर्सन एंड व्हाट डू यू मीन बाय मैनेज्ड
मैम हैंडलिंग डे टू डे एक्टिविटीज
करेक्ट वो पूरा रन हो रहा है बाय that particular person, so it is managed by that particular person, but by whom? Okay, so establishment in public sector means an establishment owned, controlled or managed by a government company as defined in section 617 okay of the Companies Act. B, a corporation in which not less than 40% of its capital is held, whether singly or taken together by. So first thing हमें इतना तो पता है कि public sector establishments means those establishments which are either owned, controlled or managed by the government company. Government company कौन सी होती है? What do you mean by government company?
गवर्नमेंट whose ownership is government of India or state government.
Very good. So at least जो भी company at who actually which is either जिसमें जो shares होते हैं right the shares of that particular company जिसमें government के shares ज़्यादा होते हैं more than 50% those particular companies are called as government companies right. So we know one thing for sure कि those establishments which are managed, controlled or owned by a government company, those particular establishments are going to be considered as establishments in public sector. इतना तो हमें पता है, right? Now, not only government companies, but a corporation in which not less than 40% of its of its capital is held, whether singly or taken together by government, Reserve Bank of India or corporation owned by the government or Reserve Bank of India. So what is it saying? कि हमें इतना तो पता है कि कोई भी company which is owned, controlled or managed by the government company, that is going to be considered as the establishment in public sector. But not only that, कोई भी ऐसी corporation होगी, okay, in which not less than 40%, मतलब 40% जो है 40% of its capital which is held either together or singly, मतलब या तो गवर्नमेंट ने एटलीस्ट 40% हेल्ड किया है ऑफ दैट पर्टिकुलर कॉर्पोरेशन, या तो इंडिविजुअली या टुगेदर, या तो फिर गवर्नमेंट और रिजर्व बैंक ने साथ में वो पर्टिकुलर कॉर्पोरेशन लिया है, wherein at least 40% of capital is held by them. या तो फिर corporation owned by government और Reserve Bank of India, कोई भी combination में, either individually or together, अगर उन्होंने ऐसी कोई भी corporation लिया है wherein they have put in at least 40% of the capital, then that particular corporation is also going to be considered as a
Public sector.
what student? Yes, as a public sector establishment. Is this clear to one and all? Is this
Yes.
clear? So
Yes,
so
ma'am.
can you tell me what is a public sector establishment? What is a
It's owned
public
by-
sector?
It is owned by government and government stake is more than 40%.
पहले तो कोई भी ऐसी कंपनी जो which is owned or controlled, managed by the government company, that is definitely going to be considered as public sector, right? Now, apart from that, जो government companies है, we know what are government companies. Government companies are those companies wherein in that particular company, the shareholding of the government is more than 50%, right? अगर वो particular government, अगर वो company का more than 51%, 50%, more than 50% का अगर मालिक है, obviously that particular company is definitely going to be called as government company, right? This we know. इसके अलावा कोई भी अगर corporation है जिसमें minimum 40% of its capital is held either individually or collectively by whom? Government, Reserve Bank of India, or corporation owned by government or Reserve Bank of India, then those particular corporations are also going to be considered as public sector establishment. Is it clear to one and all? Is it
Yes,
clear?
Yes.
Okay, then can anyone explain क्या है?
मैम previously 51% था ना शायद?
51%.
Yes, ma'am.
More than 50 means 51%, yes. At least 51% of the shareholding must be done by the government. अगर ऐसा हुआ है, then that particular company is going to be considered as a government company, right? Now, can anyone tell me what is establishment in public sector and कौन से establishment are considered as a private sector establishment? Anybody?
If any establishment where government stake is more than 40%, 40 or more than 40%, then it's public sector. And in less than 40%, then it's private sector.
Correct. Say it again. Say it again.
Ma'am, if for not less than 40%,
Minimum 40%
minimum
to fit.
40%, then government sector.
Correct.
And
Okay.
it's less than that.
But क्या? See students,
Ma'am,
don't get
of its capital.
correct. Your name is Jagrat, right?
Jagrat.
So sorry, I'm very bad with that pronunciation. Jagrat, 40% of what?
Ma'am, it's capital.
Correct. So, very good. So, whoever is getting a little bit confused, okay, can anyone check the definition of government company? What is a government company, students? ये गवर्नमेंट कंपनी जो बताई गई है, ये गवर्नमेंट कंपनी क्या है? Can anyone check the definition of 617 of the Companies Act and tell me what is a government company? क्या है ये गवर्नमेंट कंपनी? Like I said. So maybe it will be more clear. Can anyone tell me what is a government company? क्या है ये गवर्नमेंट कंपनी? Tell me.
Government companies are controlled or managed by the government.
Okay. Did anyone see the definition which is given under 617 of the Companies Act?
Yes, ma'am.
What is it?
Ma'am, definition of government company. For the purpose of this act, government company means any company in which not less than 51% of the paid up share capital is held by the central government or by any state government, or governments, or partly by the central government and partly by one or more state government.
Okay.
And includes a company which is subsidiary of a government company.
Okay. So now 51% of the paid up capital. Paid up capital का मतलब क्या होता है? जो stake है, right, in that company, 51% of the ownership lies with that particular government. अगर ऐसा situation है, कोई भी company, right, wherein government का stake more than 51% है, then that particular company is going to be considered as a
Government company.
government company, right? So what is establishment in public sector? कोई भी company which is controlled, owned or managed by the government company, then that particular company is going to be considered as establishment in public sector. Is this much clear?
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay. Now, not only the companies which are owned, controlled by and managed by the government companies are considered as public sector establishment. Apart from that, if there is any corporation, okay, wherein the minimum, wherein at least 40%, okay, of its capital is held either individually or collectively by whom? By the government, by the Reserve Bank of India, or the corporation owned by the government or the Reserve Bank of India, then in that case scenario, that particular corporation as well is going to be considered as a public establishment in public sector. Is this clear? Abhi simple hai?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
To everybody? To everybody, one and all?
Yes, ma'am.
So can anyone tell me what do you mean now when you know what is an establishment in public sector, then what are the establishment in private sector? What are the establishment in private sector?
And which not included in public sector.
तो ये इनके अलावा जो बाकी सारे कंपनीज है, जो कॉर्पोरेशंस है, which are not included in those public sector, remaining all of those establishment are going to be considered as private sector establishment. Simple है अभी? Is it clear to one and all?
Yes, ma'am.
Simple?
Yes.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Great. Now, let us see the definition of factory. We have already studied the definition of factory. So here also when we are repetitively saying factory, what is this factory? It is the same definition which has been the factory shall have the same meaning as in clause M of section 2 of the Factories Act. So we have already studied the definition of factory under Factories Act. So the same definition you can interpret here as well. So when you are talking about a factory, the employees in the factories are going to be entitled to the payment of bonus. So that factory what we are talking about is the same factory as defined under clause M of section 2 of the Factories Act. Is this clear to one and all? Is it clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now the most important part is done. Okay, now what we are going to do is we are going to now move ahead with our provisions. Okay, now students, we are going to check out with meaning of establishment. Okay, now meaning of establishment is very important. Okay, and it is a little tricky. Okay, so what exactly do you mean by establishment? Okay, we have to understand this. Now you all know one thing for sure कि establishment के ऊपर क्या rules थे, that कोई भी when you are talking about establishments, if there are more than 20 employees, then definitely that particular establishment will be liable to pay bonus to its employees, right? We know the application of this particular law, that is, it is going to be applicable to those establishments where there are more than 20 employees, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
Now, the interesting part here is that what about a situation? Now, rule is very clear crystal rule कि कोई भी establishment which can be private, public, whatever. Now we know what are private sector establishment, public sector establishment. Now, the law says that ऐसी कोई भी establishment में where there are more than 20 employees, definitely this act is going to be applicable to them. That means that in that particular establishment, the employer will be liable to pay bonus to the employees, right? Now, students, my question to you is that अगर एक पर्टिकुलर एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है, राइट, से एक्स कंपनी है, एक्स फैक्ट्री है, उसने क्या किया है, उसके ब्रांचेस आर ए इज द फैक्ट्री, उसने अपने ब्रांचेस एक्स वाई जेड लगा दिए. ओके, नाउ माय क्वेश्चन टू यू इज दैट इन ब्रांचेस में एक जगह में देयर आर 4 एम्प्लॉइज, दूसरे में देयर आर से 8 एम्प्लॉइज, तीसरे में देयर आर से 5 ब्रांचेस, पहले में देयर आर 5, बाकी में देयर आर 6, अगेन तीसरे में देयर आर 5, अगेन नेक्स्ट वाले ब्रांच में 6, and the last one also have 5 employees. My question to you is that ये जो particular establishment, ये जो particular factory है A, क्या उस पर this particular act will be applicable or do you think it will not be applicable?
I mean, it will be applicable.
will be applicable.
The main factory जो है, branches 5 है, पर जो main factory है से उसमें 15 ही लोग काम करते हैं. So the main factory, there are only 15 employees. Okay? Again, I will repeat. In the main factory, there are only 15 employees. But this particular factory have 5 branches. Okay? Branch 1, branch 2, branch 3, branch 4, branch 5. In branch 1, there are 5 employees. Branch 2, there are 6 employees. Branch 3, again, there are 5 employees. Branch 4, it has 5 employees. And branch 5 also has 5 employees. My question to you is that, will this act be applicable to this establishment or no?
Yes, ma'am. Applicable, ma'am.
How? In an establishment, there must be at least 50 employees, but in the main factory, there are only 15. And
Branches is a part of main
establishment has more than 20 employees.
one by one, please.
Ma'am, because branches is a part of main factory, so we included all workers in a one group.
Okay, very good. Now, this was actually a loophole. Now, what used to happen, students? This particular act, like I said, it is going to be applicable to those establishments where there are more than 20 employees. So, what used to happen is that to avoid giving bonuses, what the factories used to do, they used to divide themselves. Means they used to open the branches, other departments. So now what they used to say, the main factory, like I said, उसमें सिर्फ 15 ही लोग हैं, right? And the law is saying that if there are more than 20 employees, then only this act is going to be applicable. So they used to play very smart, the factories, the owners, the employers, because they obviously, if they are going, they have to pay the bonus. Obviously, उनके पैसे थोड़े कम हो जाएंगे, which definitely is going to pinch them, right? So क्या होता था that what usually they would do or they used to do is that they used to open the branches. मतलब main factory में तो सिर्फ 15 जन, and now when you are saying 15 जन, this act is going to only be applicable to those जिसमें 20 से ज़्यादा लोग हैं. So obviously what they would say that definitely This particular act is not applicable to us, therefore, because why? Because हमारे मेरे फर्म में, मेरे फैक्ट्री में 20 से ज्यादा तो है ही नहीं, right? But now you all know the law is smarter than what people can think about. तो law ने क्या बोला? आपके फैक्ट्री में 15 जन है, पर वही सेम फैक्ट्री के 5 और ब्रांचेस है. ये ब्रांचेस किसके हैं? आपके ही ब्रांचेस है, राइट? और जो अकाउंटिंग होता है वो आप टुगेदर ये पूरा फर्म का विद ऑल द ब्रांचेस एक साथ आप अकाउंटिंग करते हो. दैट मींस यू आर वन कॉन्स्टिट्यूटेड फैक्ट्री. देयरफॉर आप में कोई 15 एम्प्लॉइज नहीं है, आप में 15 जो एग्जिस्टिंग आपके मेन फैक्ट्री में काम कर रहे हैं, प्लस जो 5 ब्रांचेस है उसमें 5, 6 ये जो एम्प्लॉइज है, that also you are going to be considered. So 15 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 plus 6 plus 5 is the total amount of employees working in your establishment. Therefore, this act is definitely going to be applicable to you. So this is how the law really plays very smart. So ये जो loopholes है, what does it do? It makes sure that there is no scope of loophole. So that is why the introduction of section 3 plays a very important role. Did you all understand?
Yes, ma'am.
To everyone, is it clear? Okay. Now let us read.
Yes, ma'am.
Establishments to include departments, undertaking and branches. What does it say? When you are talking about any establishments, it is also going to include departments. It is also going to include undertakings. It is also going to include branches. So मोटो अगर एक ही इंडिविजुअल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है तो स्टोरी अलग है, बट अगर ये एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट्स है, फॉर एग्जांपल एक बिल्डिंग है, एक बिल्डिंग में उनके सेल्स की डिपार्टमेंट है. That building is an individual building जहाँ पे 15 लोग काम कर रहे हैं, पर वही एस्टैब्लिशमेंट का परचेज डिपार्टमेंट अलग बिल्डिंग में है, राइट? तो लॉ क्या बोल रही है? यू ऑल आर कमिंग अंडर वन एस्टैब्लिशमेंट ओनली. आपकी बिल्डिंग्स अलग है, पर डिपार्टमेंट्स आपके अलग अलग है, पर आप सारे जन हो वो एक ही एस्टैब्लिशमेंट के हो. भले आपके जो वर्किंग लोग हैं 20 से कम है, बट टोटल अगर आप देखो आपके पूरे इंटायर एस्टैब्लिशमेंट में मोर देन 20 एम्प्लॉइज आर वर्किंग. Therefore, this act is definitely going to be applicable to you. Is this clear to one and all? समझ में आ रहा है सबको? So here, what does it say? It says that establishments are also going to include the departments. It is also going to include the undertakings, and it also is going to include all the branches. Okay. So it says that where an establishment consists of different departments. जो अगर एक ही एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है और उसमें अगर 15 लोग हैं तो डेफिनेटली एक्ट एप्लीकेबल नहीं होगा. पर हम लोग ऐसी सिचुएशन की बात कर रहे हैं जहाँ पे ये जो एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है उसके डिफरेंट ब्रांचेस है, उसके डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स है, उसके डिफरेंट अंडरटेकिंग्स है. Then in that case scenario, how are you going to calculate the employees? Okay, so it says that where an establishment consists of different departments, okay, or undertaking, or has branches, whether situated in the same place, okay, whether situated in the same place or in different places, all such departments or undertakings or branches shall be treated as parts of the same establishment for the purpose of computation of bonus under this act. So what is it trying to say? It is trying to tell you that अगर एक establishment है उसके कोई branches नहीं है, okay, और उसमें सिर्फ 15 लोग हैं as employees. Question to you is that will this particular act be applicable to them?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
Are you sure?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
My question I'll repeat again. एक establishment है, right? एक ही establishment है, उसके कोई branches नहीं है, okay? और उसमें 15 लोग काम कर रहे हैं, 15 employees. My question to you is that will this act be applicable to them?
No, ma'am.
Are you all sure?
No.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Okay. How about Manju, Bunty, Rajeshri, Kshitij?
Ma'am, if appropriate government notifies, then it will be applicable, otherwise not.
हाँ, appropriate government ने अभी तक कुछ नहीं बोला है इसके बारे में.
Ma'am, it will not be remain in force there.
How about Manju? Manju, are you there? Rajeshri, Bunty, what are you all of the opinion of? Sharad, Vikas, Jagrat and Tajwar has very nicely answered. How about the remaining 4 of you all? Even Kshitij answered. Manju, Rajeshri, Bunty, what are you all of the opinion of? अगर एक एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है, उसके कोई ब्रांचेस नहीं है और उसमें सिर्फ 14 लोग हैं, काम कर रहे हैं एज एम्प्लॉइज, क्या ये पर्टिकुलर एक्ट उन पे एप्लीकेबल होगा? Will this act be applicable to them?
No, ma'am.
Okay, what do you all think collectively? Will this act be applicable?
No, ma'am.
No, ma'am.
This act is definitely not going to be applicable to them. But if there is an establishment where there are branches, okay, वो एक बिल्डिंग है, okay, my other question to you is एक बिल्डिंग है, okay, एक फैक्ट्री है, उसमें फॉर एग्जाम्पल 10 लोग हैं, पर वो सेम जो फैक्ट्री है उसके डिफरेंट डिपार्टमेंट्स है, सेल्स डिपार्टमेंट, प्रोडक्शन डिपार्टमेंट, लॉजिस्टिक डिपार्टमेंट, अलग अलग डिपार्टमेंट है, उसके जो बिल्डिंग्स है वो अलग अलग जगह पे है. It is in different places, and in each department there are 10 employees. My question to you is that will this act be applicable to that particular establishment?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
So now definitely you're going to sum total all the employees in all the departments and then see whether or not they are more than 20. If they are more than 20, then definitely this particular act is going to be applicable to them. Is this clear to one and all?
The branches and department working for a single goal.
Correct, because they all are working under the same establishment. That establishment have different branches. So definitely it is going to be applicable to them because you are going to take sum total of all the employees who are working in that particular establishment. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes.
Clear?
Yes.
Now,
Yes, ma'am.
okay, now there is an interesting thing. Okay, it says provided that where for any accounting year, a separate, can you all see the PPT? Can you all see the PPT?
Yes, ma'am.
It says provided, there is a proviso. It says provided where for any accounting year, a separate balance sheet and profit and loss account are provided and maintained in respect of such department or undertaking or branch, then such department, undertaking or branches shall be treated as separate establishment for the purpose of computation of bonus under this act for that year, unless such department or undertaking or branch was immediately before the commencement of that accounting year treated as part of establishment for the purpose of computation of bonus. Now यहाँ पे बहुत एक important चीज की बात की है. They are talking about they are talking about preparation of separate balance sheet and profit and loss account. क्या situation की बात कर रहे हैं? अगर एक फैक्ट्री है, 5 ब्रांचेस है, ये पांचों ब्रांच जो है, राइट, उन्होंने क्या किया है, हर एक ब्रांच ने अपना सेपरेट फाइनेंशियल रिकॉर्ड्स किए हैं. Means they are not all jointly, means the main factory and 5 branches, they have not collectively summed up their profit and loss account and balance sheet. Okay, the individual department have removed individual financial records. Then in that case, separate, सब कुछ separate है. So in that case scenario, the question is, will this act be applicable to them if there are less than 20 employees?
No, ma'am.
No. So this is an interesting aspect. क्या बता रहा है ये कि ये the law is making it very crystal clear that where in any accounting year, okay, a separate balance sheet and profit and loss account is prepared for separate department. Even भले वो लोग एक में काम कर रहे हैं, right? सब they have different branches, but वो लोग क्या कर रहे हैं? They are working as separate entities. हर एक एंटिटी ने अपना अलग अलग अकाउंटिंग सेपरेट प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट एंड बैलेंस शीट किया है. Then obviously what is law saying that then they will definitely that it is going to be considered as separate entities. Then अगर other case अगर वो particular फैक्ट्री और सारे ब्रांचेस ने उनके अकाउंट सारा मिलजुल कर देखा कि कितना है, together if they have removed their profit and loss and balance sheet, then definitely it is going to be considered as one complete establishment. But अगर उन्होंने individually हर एक ब्रांच का अलग अलग separate है profit and loss because then they are definitely going to be considered as separate entities, right? तो इन्होंने individually हर एक डिपार्टमेंट का अलग अलग किया है, then in that case scenario क्या होगा students? What will happen in
separate establishment?
Correct. Then they are definitely going to be considered as a separate establishment. Is this clear to one and all? Is this clear? फिर आप ये कंप्यूटेशन नहीं कर सकते हो कि नहीं वो डिपार्टमेंट में है 10 लोग और ये सब डिपार्टमेंट एक ही कंपनी के एक ही फैक्ट्री के है, बट क्या प्रॉब्लम हो रहा है? आपने सेपरेट अकाउंटिंग की है सबकी. So therefore when you are calculating bonus and when you are seeing how many number of employees are there, because you have done separate accounting for each separate department, that time you will not be able to compute 20 in all like that. Then individually हर एक डिपार्टमेंट में कितने आ रहे हैं वो देखकर computation of bonus will be done. Is this clear to one and all? Is
Yes,
this
ma'am.
clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay.
Yes, ma'am.
Now there is an important case also for this. Okay, the name of the case is Workmen of HMT and another versus Presiding Officer, National Tribunal, Calcutta and another. ये आपका जो case है, this case has also been mentioned in your study material, which is on page number 70. If you want, you can open it as well. So this is a very important case wherein यही चीज क्वेश्चन हुई थी कि where there are different departments और ये जो different departments है they are part of one establishment, पर ये सारे जो different departments है उन्होंने अपना जो financial record है that is profit and loss account and balance sheet वो separately maintain किया था. Then in that case scenario how are you going to what are you going to consider? Are you going to consider? How are you going to consider them? So this particular case was an important case for that particular matter. So what was held in this particular case? I will inform you all. It says that in case of a company, in case the company starts preparing separate balance sheet, then it can treat each unit as a separate unit. So हर एक यूनिट अगर सेपरेट फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स ट्रीट कर रही, फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स बना रही है, फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स मींस प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट्स एंड बैलेंस शीट अगर ईच सेपरेट डिपार्टमेंट ने अपना इंडिविजुअली किया है, देन दैट पर्टिकुलर डिपार्टमेंट इज गोइंग टू बी कंसिडर्ड एज अ सेपरेट यूनिट. फिर वो पूरा सब कुछ आप ऐसे पूरा टोटल में कंप्यूटेशन नहीं कर सकते कि कितने एम्प्लॉइज कहाँ कहाँ है, नहीं. हर एक डिपार्टमेंट ने इंडिविजुअली किया है, देन आप इंडिविजुअली यूनिट को इंडिविजुअल जो फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट जो अकाउंट निकाला है that is going to be considered as an individual unit. Is this clear? So this particular thing was laid down in this particular case as well. Workmen of HMT and another versus Presiding Officer, National Tribunal, Calcutta and another. Is this clear? उसका citation है 19733 26 FLR 311. Is this clear?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
आपको समझ में आ गया? Yes, yes.
मैम ये जो आपने भी बताया अकाउंटिंग ईयर और सेपरेट बैलेंस शीट वाला, सिर्फ ये जो हम कंप्यूटेशन ऑफ बोनस करेंगे उसके रिगार्डिंग है ना?
Yes.
मतलब अदर देन दैट कोई मतलब उसमें कुछ आएगा नहीं?
नहीं, क्योंकि हम लोग यहाँ पे क्या कर रहे हैं ना, हम लोग ये ट्राई कर रहे हैं कि बिकॉज व्हाट when you talk about the application of this act, we all know that this act is going to be applicable to factories. Factories के जो भी employees हैं उन पे तो ये applicable होगा ही. But अगर कोई भी establishment में आपको consider करना है तो वही establishment में आप consider ये act applicable हो सकता है जहाँ पे 20 या 20 से ज्यादा लोग हैं, right? बोनस एक्ट उन पे ही एप्लीकेबल या उन पर ही लागू होगा जिसमें 20 या 20 से ज्यादा लोग हैं, राइट? तो ये एस्टैब्लिशमेंट्स क्या करेंगी? तो हर एक एस्टैब्लिशमेंट बोल देगा कि मैं एस्टैब्लिशमेंट, वो पहले तो यही सोचेगा, फॉर एग्जांपल एस्टैब्लिशमेंट एक कॉर्पोरेशन है, व्हाटएवर एक है, एस्टैब्लिशमेंट है, पर उसने अपने क्या 20 लोग एक साथ ना दिखाने के लिए वो क्या करेगा? डिस्ट्रीब्यूट कर देंगे एम्प्लॉयज इन डिफरेंट ब्रांच कर देंगे, राइट? सो द क्वेश्चन इज कि अगर एक एस्टैब्लिशमेंट में ब्रांच आउट कर दिया है और एक साथ 20 जन काम नहीं करते हैं, तो क्या उन लोगों पर भी ये एक्ट एप्लीकेबल होगा? द आंसर इज होगा, उन पर एप्लीकेबल होगा, क्योंकि इट इज रूट्स ऑफ द सेम ब्रांचेस एंड दे उन सब के लिए अकाउंटिंग जो रिकॉर्ड्स है वो एक ही है। सब ब्रांचेस के लिए एक ही फाइनेंशियल अकाउंट्स बनाया जाता है, बैलेंस शीट एंड प्रॉफिट एंड अकाउंट सबका देखकर ही बनाया जाता है, सबके लिए एक ही है। बट इन अ सिचुएशन wherein हर एक ब्रांच के सेपरेट फाइनेंशियल रिकॉर्ड्स मेंटेन किए जाते हैं और प्रॉफिट एंड लॉस अकाउंट एंड बैलेंस शीट हर एक ब्रांच का अलग अलग किया जाता है, then in that case scenario हर एक branch is going to be considered as a separate unit, because if it is a separate unit तो उस unit में कितने employees है that will be considered, and if it is less than 20 then definitely act is not going to be applicable to them. समझ में आ गया अभी? Then you cannot do the
Yes,
total
ma'am.
log के कितना है. Is this clear now?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, sir.
सबको समझ में आ गया?
Yes, ma'am.
Okay, so now we have understood a very important part in regard to exactly the meaning of establishment होती कैसे है and how actually you are so going to consider it. Okay, उनके branches है तो क्या होगा? Branches if they are maintaining separate financial accounts तो क्या होगा? Now you know about all this, right? Right?
Yes, ma'am.
So now we are going to understand another important concept in regard to, now you know about this. Now we are going to understand in regard to, you're going to understand in regard to section 5 which talks about कि when you are talking about gross profit, वो compute कैसे करना, okay? क्या क्या चीज deduct होंगी उसमें से. So we are going to discuss about all of that. We are going to see the eligibility of the bonus, okay? So we are going to study about all of that, okay? So what we can do is, I think it is time for your break as well. So I hope you all are not overburdened. We can have one more lecture. Can we have one more hour? If you all are okay?
Yes, ma'am.
Yes, ma'am.
Yeah, ma'am.
Okay, so then again we meet after 15 minutes, okay? And we will continue with the lecture,
Ma'am,
okay?
link will be same or
Okay, ma'am.
The link will be same. The last link which I have, I sent in the class, right? You can
because ma'am in PDF link there is problem in
Okay.
something.
कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. आई बिलीव के जो लास्ट लिंक मैंने आपके ऑफिशियल ग्रुप में जो भेजा है, राइट, वो लिंक
Yes,
से यू ऑल कुड एंटर, राइट, यू ऑल कुड एंटर, तो वही लिंक से यू कैन एंटर अगेन फॉर द लास्ट 1 hour lecture. ठीक है?
Okay.
सो आई एम